Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC from Blue Lions TV. Welcome to the match review with our 2-2 draw against Man United. And wow, this game was really intense and it kind of like brought back memories of like those old rivalries back in the day. There's a lot to talk about tactically. You guys know I'm going to be releasing more videos in the future, really getting in deep with this game. But you know how I like to do things, starting with the lineup, and I was a little bit surprised. I personally felt maybe Giroud and Pedro would start this game and maybe Morata and Willian would come off from the bench. We've seen with Morata that when he does come off from the bench, when he does have that space to play, I think it suits his game a bit more. And I think with Pedro too, you know, his ability to play on the right and cut inside with his left foot, it makes a big difference, makes a big deal, especially in speeding up our play down that left-hand side as well. So, again, I'm not going to fully blame SARRI. It's not a massive mistake, but I just thought personally their characteristics would have been a bit better suited for the game, especially with Olivier Giroud. You know, his ability to really hold up the ball, really compete physically as well. I'm not too sure. I personally would have started with them, and maybe the outcome of this game could have been a bit different, especially if you've got guys like Willian and Morata coming off from the bench. But just starting with the first half, and with Man United, I think all of us kind of expected how they were going to play. Now, apologies for not being able to release a match preview yesterday. I'm having real bad issues with my Premier Pro, so it really hasn't been as helpful. So I wasn't really surprised from United in a tactical aspect. You know, we see what they like to do. You know, they like their wingers to drop deep, obviously helping out their fullbacks, creating a back six at times. And, you know, when you see how United defend off the ball compared to other teams that park the bus, Mourinho always does it very differently. You know, you'll see guys like Matic, dropping deep to match that defensive line with the other defensive players as well. Sometimes it can be 8 at the back or even 7 at the back at times. And really what Man United wanted to do during this game was to try and force us in the middle. And to be honest, Man United were pretty good. And I kind of think maybe we had luck on our side, which should help. But I think that this is the game that Mourinho wanted to have, and he was able to get that against us. He really stifled our play at times, really forced us to play really narrow quite a lot. And really, you know, we really profited from some very good set pieces. And that was a bit surprising from United's aspect, you know. Very good physically, very good aerially as well. They were really competing well against guys like Morata, and even Giroud when he did come on too. But you know, Mourinho's going to be pretty disappointed that United defenders made some individual errors at the back, especially from the set piece. You know, Pogba losing Rudiger, and Rudiger obviously towering over him, and obviously right at the end to really lose it in the 96th minute like that. You don't want to lose a game, and you felt that United were in control in that type of sense as well. But again, it was a very, very physical game, and Mourinho, you know, everyone expected him to not do that same tactic a few seasons ago of using Herrera to man-mark Hazard. It wasn't really going to work like that, not with how we like to play, not with the amount of players we have playing between the lines as well, and the amount of players we have obviously supporting our attacking plays and moves as well. It wasn't going to work like that, but again, I did expect SARRI to play Hazard more out wide, and it was quite hard for him. You know, Ashley Young, very, very, very aggressive when needing Hazard today. One of those games where if this was in Europe, he probably would have got 2 yellow cards during this game. But I think Hazard definitely did suffer quite a bit in this game, especially as the match was going on. You could see him holding the back of his hip and holding his legs and holding his knees. United players were really just making sure that Hazard wasn't going to get through them whatsoever. And if Hazard lost them, he was going to get brought down, he was going to get fouled, and that's what they were able to do. And I think that Hazard wasn't able to really get into the game as much. And when you top it off in terms of the fact that, you know, United like to be very compact centrally when they're defending off the ball as well, it really did stop us from really being able to move them and shift them from left to right. It wasn't really working like that, and I think really having that back six really helped United keep their defensive structure, really stopped them from being stretched and moved around as much, and we really did struggle at times to deal with it. But you know, we got the first goal, great set piece from Rudiger, and you know, he's been very good when it comes to attacking these set pieces that SARRI wants us to do, and he's become our main threat aerially inside the box. And you know, we're playing quite well. You know, when you're looking at Man United, as we should know, they're going to press high at times, but that's not really their game. But Mourinho made it a bit interesting, and you guys, you know, I'm always constantly praising how we like to play between the lines and how we play centrally. That's how we're able to drag teams apart and create spaces which obviously shift them everywhere. that wasn't the case. We weren't able to do that against Man United. And what they were able to do was the fact that when United were off the ball, and let's say we were playing up from the back, they were very comfortable dropping deeper near the halfway line. And when you're looking at United's attackers and midfield and their defence, it was very compact with each other, probably 15 yards between them. And they're really just basically saying, you know what, you shall not pass, you're not going to move us. You know, you got to play really, really well if you're going to be breaking through this wall. And we really struggled to do that quite a lot at times. You know, United were able to make us play out wide and really force us out wide. And, you know, we're not really, you know, of course, we're very good down that left-hand side, but down that right-hand side, there really isn't too much fluency just yet. Now, with Willian, do I think he was awful today? No, he wasn't. And I think sometimes people mistake Willian being awful and bad for him not being able to do as much just due to how the game is. You know, when you're playing against a team that do park the bus and you've got Willian on the right-hand side and he can't attack on his favourite foot, expect the play to be slowed down quite a lot. And I think with Azpilicueta, again, a game where I thought he did struggle at times, and, you know, I'm not really seeing him develop too much as a right-back in that sense. A lot of times where he should be a bit more aggressive, take responsibility, you know, push further up to really stretch the play. Aspi wasn't really providing that as much, and, you know, it was quite frustrating. And if you're Willian, if you're going to be playing on that right-hand side, you do need players on the right that will be creating the spaces for you. And it just wasn't happening. And, you know, it does bring up some very interesting dilemmas. You guys know me. I personally feel that with Sarri being at Chelsea, he can do things on a much bigger and better scale than what he was doing at Napoli. And I really think for Sarri to evolve his Sarri ball system, I'd like to see us, you know, really play a bit more balance in terms of how we use the ball. Instead of really focusing down that left-hand side, I like us to have that balance down the right. And in a way, this is where Pedro could have been very useful, especially when it came to runs off the ball, because there were times where players were able to create the space, but weren't really able to do much. So it was quite frustrating in that regards. But, you know, with Man United, with a lot of great individual talents they have, in a way, you're always going to have to be very careful, because you make any slight mistake, they can profit from that. And their equaliser really did sum up that luck in a way. I think, you know, those chances of that ball just deflecting straight to Martial. Of course, great finish by Martial inside the box. You guys know I love Anthony Martial. I honestly think that if you play him as a centre forward, you can unlock this guy, you can find another level, become a better player. To get 2 goals in this game today, and he really showed us how ruthless and deadly he is with his finishing, you know, in the bottom corners. And you look at a guy like that and it makes you think, you know, he could be an amazing addition up front if we could sign him. Now, moving on to Morata, it wasn't even the fact that he was bad. He wasn't, you know, at times he did fight, and you know, he has to get praise for his work rate in this game today. Morata was pressing hard. He was trying to win 50-50s. Even when he was getting knocked back down, he was still getting it back up to continue the fight. And it's going to sound a bit bad, but it just brings back memories of Fernando Torres. You know, Torres worked very hard as well. He was always going for 50-50s. But, you know, with Morata, he does the hard stuff. But when it comes to the simple stuff afterwards, and, you know, the layoff passes, knowing when to turn, being quicker on the ball, he's not really doing that as much. And, you know, it's quite frustrating. I can't say he was awful. But, again, you know, there was a moment when he was able to get a shot on goal, I think his only shot on goal. You're thinking, if that's a top striker, if that's a Costa, if that's a Cavani, if that's a Suarez, that's going to go in the bottom left corner, that's going in the net, and that's going to be a goal 2-0. Because, you know, games like this against the very top opposition, the games become very tight, and it does become about who's going to be more decisive in those moments. And I think that, you guys know, you know, I like to be very realistic. We're very close to that level. I don't think we're just there exactly yet. I think that with 2 more additions in attacking areas, I think that we will have the team where, if games are very tight, we'll have the difference maker who is going to create something, who is going to finish something off. And again, you know, like I'm saying, Morata wasn't awful, but it wasn't really providing as much as he wanted. And what really frustrated me the most wasn't even giving the ball away cheaply at times. It was more the fact that it was his movement. You know, a lot of times Hazard was able to free himself from Ashley Young, for example. But Morata, instead of going the opposite flank to try and stretch the play and create space for Hazard, he kept moving in field with Hazard every single time, and that really slowed us down. And, you know, Hazard wasn't able to break the lines and obviously be the one to, you know, finish off moves. That wasn't the case, and that's the type of intelligence that I do want to see from Morata. And that's always been a part of his game where, you know, he has always kind of suffered in that type of sense. But, you know, the Morata dilemma does continue, it does go on. But, again, Man United, they get the second goal. You're not really expecting that to come. Now, David Luiz, in a way, quite unfortunate. You know, he had to break the lines. He had to obviously try and deal with Mata. David Luiz, you know, he can pass with his left foot, but he prefers to tackle with his right. And, you know, of course, if you're a right-footed guy playing on the left, there's going to be times when you're not going to win these types of balls. But I think his overall game was very good when it came to combating against guys like Lukaku, for example, and his distribution as well. I think it was quite good. It was a shame that he wasn't able to get on the end of that. Great finish by Martial. We have to be realistic. And honestly, the last 20 minutes was the first time I've really felt pressure this season. I really felt it. I was standing up. I was frustrated. I was swearing. I was shouting. And I don't know. There was just a part of me thinking, you know what? It can't end like this. We can't lose this game today. Sarri makes the substitutions. He brings on Ross Barkley. He brings on Giroud. And Pedro does come on as well. With Ross Barkley, I have to say, when he did come on, he just continued the flow of the game, and that was good to see. You guys know I'm critical of Ross Barkley, but I'm only critical when I expect more from players. You know, I keep stressing with Chelsea, it's not Crystal Palace. We don't just commend work rate, because if we did just commend work rate, why isn't anyone praising Morata, for example? We have to be realistic, but when Barkley came on to replace Kovacic, we didn't get weaker. He just continued that role. He was looking to take responsibility. Times when he was able to create space to take a shot, he tried it. Yeah, some efforts were deflected, but it was that fact that he was taking responsibility. And, you know, right at the end, get in that position to score, you're thinking it's amazing. You know, of course, Sarri did change things a bit tactically. He did move Kante to sit a bit deeper with Jorginho. It makes sense because United did have a threat on the counter-attack as well. So he wanted Kante to sit a bit deeper in case we did lose possession of the ball in United's half. And he is able to track back and win those second balls. But by doing that, it meant that a lot of times when we were pumping balls and playing a bit more direct near the end, we weren't really having any midfield players actually able to, you know, move in field and try to win those second balls higher up. So, again, it was set pieces that really saved us. And it's not even luck, you guys. It's not luck. I speak about this all the time. We all know this already. Sarri spends a lot of time working on set pieces, and this is why we look so threatening, and it does add another dimension in our game. You know, you look at Rudiger, how many times does he get to the near post, attack from deep? It's amazing. And you're looking at right at the end as well, too. Great delivery from a set piece as well. And yeah, it was just a great play by Giroud, great play by Ross Barkley to get on the end of that and get that equaliser. And then after that, it started to kick off a bit, but that's what I like to see. You know, like I'm saying, it harkened back to those old Premier League games between the top clubs. You do want to see a bit of bad blood at times. I'm not too sure what happened at the end. I was saying it was an altercation between United and Chelsea's backroom staff, so interesting to see. But yeah, in the end, we were able to get something from the game. Did I think we really deserved it in the end? Got to be realistic. I don't think so. I think if you're a Man United fan, you're very frustrated, you know, to lose the game. I mean, not to lose the game, to not get the 3 points right at the end. It's gonna affect the players. You know, they did as much as they could. They fought really hard. 1 second balls, very aggressive. You know, again, look how many yellow cards they picked up in this game. They're going to get fines later on, but it really showed you their commitment to try and get something from this game. But this is what I like about Sarri. You know, the old Chelsea spirit of never giving up, still continuing. And I think every fan in the stadium probably had that same self-belief that, you know what, the game's not over yet. We can still create that last final moment and get something from the game. We did that, and I think that's the difference that Sarri has instilled in this team. And when we're not playing our best, we can still get a result in a game. It's great to see. But you guys, that's going to be the end for today's match review. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Give me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Were you a bit frustrated with this performance? Were there things Sarri could have done in your opinion? Let me know below. You guys, I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Line CV. Signing out.